So today, just a brief presentation for you on the importance of audience in writing, and I call this How Written Communication Happens. Most writing is not accidental, spontaneous, or something you just sit down and do. It's not a casual act that just kind of happens out of nowhere. In fact, at its most effective, most writing is thoughtful, carefully crafted, well planned, the result of a process, and, if you're Stephen King, telepathy, of course. But how does it work, and how do we do it? Let's take a closer look. Writing can be compared to telepathy because it's the communication of an idea from one mind to another without any direct interaction between the two parties. That means without the two of you ever having met, you can still communicate your ideas across an empty space. Basically, you come up with an idea. Then you write your idea down in a carefully thought out way. Your audience then reads your idea. And now they have the same idea in their minds, effectively having transmitted the idea from yours to theirs without ever having actually spoken to them. But it doesn't happen quite so simply. Authors have to think a lot about their audiences. As an author, there are many things to consider about an audience. We're going to cover a thing here called ICON, I-K-O-N, which will help you remember what to consider. First, I is for identity. Who is your audience anyway? What are their positions relative to you? Are they an employer, a superior, a peer, someone who works for you? How well do you know them? Are you on a first-name basis in most communications, or is this a first contact? And do you know anything about what approach they respond best to? Do they like numerical evidence, moral argument, a highly charged appeal to their emotions, or a focus on the perception of others? K. Knowledge. What level of expertise does your audience have with the information? What do they already know about the topic? What information would be insufficient or inefficient to mention to them? What explanations would be insulting to them? What might they already know, but needs to be restated for the purpose of your argument? What do you need to tell them? What information do they need to know? And what concepts need to be explained in more depth? And how familiar are they with the terms? What words will you need to define for them? How much technical language should you include? And where is technical language inappropriate? O. Opinion. What perspective does your audience have about your topic and purpose? How do they feel about your perspective? Will they agree with you right away, or will they disagree with your ideas until you can convince them otherwise? What specific ideas are they definitely going to disagree with, and how can you overcome these objectives? Or objections, rather. What specific ideas do you think they will be on board with? How can you use these to leverage their agreement on the other ideas? And how hostile will they be toward your suggestions? If they're going to be hostile, how can you swing them over to your side? And finally, N. Nuance. Little things can make a big difference. What kind of tone does your audience expect from you? Confident but not pushy, commanding and powerful, mutually respectful, or some combination of those? Are buzzwords appropriate? If so, which ones, and how can you use them? Further, can you identify any keywords that your audience will want to see? Can you use these to, fittingly enough, key in to your audience's existing perspective? And how does your audience expect you to establish your authority? Is it assumed that you are an expert, or will you have to prove yourself? What methods of developing authority will your audience appreciate? These together give you a big picture of what kind of considerations need to go into identifying your audience, and that will help control your writing. And when you put all of that together, that is how written communication happens.